any more, because this will promote local the publishing industry. I now ask the 6 secretaries to speak. Each will have 15 minutes, so they will have maximum of 90 minutes. Financial Secretary. Mr. President, in my capacity as Acting Financial Secretary as well as Secretary for Financial Services and Treasury, I speak. First of all, I'd like to thank the House Committee Chairman for moving the motion of thanks to the Chief Executive's 2018 policy address so that government officials will have a chance to listen to members' views, and I also thank members for speaking. This policy address is titled Striving Ahead, Rekindling Hope. A number of measures were announced covering economic development, housing and land, transport, education, labor and welfare, healthcare, and other different areas. This shows that the administration is determined to develop our economy as well as to improve people's livelihood. In preparing the budget, the Financial Secretary will dovetail by giving appropriate financial resources so that these measures will be implemented as soon as possible to benefit the public. President, I will now go over the economic situation, economic outlook, as well as future economic development of Hong Kong. First of all, economic situation. For the first half of the year, benefiting from global economic situation, we have seen strong momentum in our economic growth, which is registered at 4%. Economic activities in the third quarter are steadily expanding. Export of goods in the first quarter on a year-on-year basis increased by 9%, which is similar to the second quarter. Well, domestic demand remains strong, and inbound tourism shows marked increase. We have also seen retail sales volume increase by 5.1%. However, the impact of unfavorable conditions, say for example the trade conflict, increased interest rate hikes, adjustment in stock market, will affect Hong Kong's economy. In recent months, we have seen surveys done by certain institutions that people's sentiment has turned towards being prudent. In September, the export of goods and retail sales has also tapered. On property market, because of external unfavorable conditions and the interest rate hike by local banks, we see that since August, the property market has somewhat cooled down with a drop in number of transactions. Prices have dropped, and we see that between August to October, the number of residential transactions has dropped to 4,200 a month on average, which is lower than that of the first 7 months, which was as 5,700 transactions. Overall property prices has dropped by 0.1% in August, and there was a further 1.4% drop in December. The latest information shows that the property prices in October continues to dampen, and there is a reduction in number of secondary transactions in the second-hand market. On labor market, unemployment rate remained at 2.8%, which is the record low in the past 2 decades. Overall employment is steady, and it also shows that income registered growth in real terms. On prices, for the first 5 months, underlying inflation averaged at 2.5%, which is slightly than the 1.7% last year. With strong growth in the past year and also increase in cost, as well as rise in fresh letting residential rentals, well, there is a slight pressure on inflation. Well, we also show that in economic outlook, although global economy continues to expand, however, the growth momentum has tapered, and performance of major economies also vary. On the mainland, economic growth is still steady. For the first 3 quarters, it has registered a growth rate of 6.7%. It benefited from the expansion of physical stimulations. On the other hand, in Eurozone as well as Japan economy, although we have seen continuous expansion, the rate of expansion is less than that of last year. Other emerging markets in Asia has also registered a steady expansion. manufacturing and trade in the region has tapered somewhat since September. The IMF has adjusted the global economic growth forecast from 3.9% down to 3.7%. It shows that there is still a risk of downward adjustment. What is worrying is the rise of protectionism. U.S. has adopted unilateralism and has provoked trade conflict, which has brought turbulence to the global trade system. It also poses a great threat to the global economy. With intensifying Sino-U.S. Trade conflict, it will affect Hong Kong's economy. Well, the conflict between the two largest economies, it will bring adverse sentiment to the world and reduce investments and increase volatility of financial markets, which in turn will affect Hong Kong. We'll continue to talk to the trade and put in place a number of measures and help the trade to expand market and diversify risks. We'll continue to monitor the situation and put in place appropriate measures if needed. The finances of advanced economies has started to tighten, which is a major risk factor. The U.S. Federal Reserve at the end of 2015 has increased interest rate 8 times, and they have indicated that it will continue. Mr. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve in early October, said that there is a very high chance of interest rate increase, and it will be higher than the neutral rate of interest. So the market estimate that the Federal Reserve will increase interest rate again in December. The possibility of that is 70%. In Eurozone, with risk of deflation abating, the Europe Central Bank has reduced the scale of monthly net asset purchase program, and they've also planned to end this program at the end of the year. We've also have to monitor the situation in emerging markets with a U.S. Interest rate hiking and strong U.S. dollars, as well as intensifying trade conflicts. There's a broad pressure on capital outflow for emerging markets. For some economies with a weaker fundamental, their financial markets has registered some turbulence in the past few years. We see that, given the linked exchange rate, Hong Kong's interest rate rises with that in the U.S. In September, banks have increased prime interest rate, which is the first time in 12 years. It shows that the ultra low interest rate period has ended. Well, with continuous normalization of U.S. monetary policy, we believe that interest rate here in Hong Kong will continue to increase, which will have impact on Hong Kong's economy as well as asset prices. We face uncertainties in the external environment, namely the Brexit deal negotiation, budget dispute in Italy, as well as geopolitical risks. We also have to pay attention to changes in oil prices and the impact on investment sentiment. All in all, with the challenges in the external environment, we'll continue to monitor the situation. We think that we'll still register an overall annual 3 to 4% growth. On the 16th of November, we will announce the economic figures in the third quarter and update our forecast for economic growth and inflation. I'll now go over our measures to promote diversified development. In the policy address, we have shown a determination to develop a new growth area. We will be determined to seize the opportunities brought by the BNR initiatives as well as the Bay Area. We will continue to be a facilitator and promoter to seize the opportunities brought along by these various developments, and to serve our country and to connect with the world, and also to expand business opportunities. Given external uncertainties, we'll continue to adopt a multi-pronged approach and to tap into our unique advantage under the one country, two systems, as well as to find more opportunities for businesses and to diversify risk. We will continue to reach trade FTAs with trade partners and to expand our ETO network to attract investors to come to Hong Kong. Under the BNR initiatives, we will implement a number of measures to make Hong Kong first choice platform and an important node under the BNR initiatives. The BNR initiatives will also provide a diversified investment and financing and professional services opportunities. The Bay Area will also be a new growth area for Hong Kong, especially in terms of INT as well as financial and professional services. We'll continue to liaise with mainland counterparts to find new opportunities and to develop our business. We'll continue to talk to the Ministry of Commerce to enrich CEPA. We will also consolidate our advantage of convention and exhibition business and to increase the value of exhibition. On tourism, we will continue to move towards diversification and to attract high-value adding overnight visitors. We will also implement the development blueprint for Hong Kong's tourism industry and seize the opportunities brought by the XRL as well as the Hong Kong-Macao Bridge. On financial services, we'll continue to promote Hong Kong's position as well as competitiveness of Hong Kong as the international financial center as well as an asset and wealth management center in Asia-Pacific region and regional insurance hub. We'll capitalize on BNR initiative and Bay Area opportunities and to strengthen financial cooperation as well as connectivity between Hong Kong and the mainland. We will also promote our status as a major financing platform and financial services hub for mainland and overseas businesses. We'll also promote green finance and fintech development. We'll keep in view global and regional economic and political changes. We will continue to monitor the risk prevention and resilience of our financial system to ensure that it will operate smoothly. We'll continue to enhance our regulatory regime and to implement international regulatory standard. On shipping, we will continue to promote to enhance Hong Kong's international airport infrastructure and provide it with support. We'll also enable the international airport to enhance its passenger and cargo handling capacity and to expand their aviation network. We'll also consolidate Hong Kong's position as an international aviation hub. On shipping, we will focus on developing high-value-adding maritime services, especially ship finance and maritime insurance. INT is a key development area in the policy address. We have devoted abundant resources to develop it. Apart from the $50 billion set aside in this policy address to develop INT, we will also set aside $28 billion on university research, reindustrialization, public service application, as well as to create a favorable environment for INT. This shows the determination and commitment of the government. Government procurement is also one way to develop INT. As the Chief Executive said in the policy address, we will, starting from April next year, launch a new procurement policy to support innovation. The purpose of the new policy is to create favorable environment and to encourage government departments to adopt new proposals and also to facilitate participation of startups and SMEs in government procurement. Under the new policy, the government will attach more importance to quality. When vetting tender documents, the weighting of technical aspect will be enhanced. As a result, proposals with higher elements of innovation may get a high chance to be selected. We'll also strengthen exchange and dissemination of information with the trade to help startups and SMEs to participate in government procurement. The FSTB is working with relevant bureaus and departments on the details in order to start this new policy in April next year. On creative industry, in last year's policy address, the Chief Executive has set out a blueprint for development. In this year's policy address, the Chief Executive has proposed an injection of $1 billion into the Film Development Fund to cover manpower training, enhancing Hong Kong's film production, as well as market development, as well as audience development to support the local film industry. As always, we'll continue to put in place supporting measures and allocate resources to implement various measures to enhance people's livelihood. We will also accord priority, and we will also, in a forward-looking way and strategically, allocate resources. We will abide by the principle of prudent financial management and allocate resources where they are required to make sure that there is a sustainability. Sound public finances is very important to Hong Kong. With the volatile global economy, although Hong Kong's fundamentals are still good, we cannot be complacent. We will continue to monitor external environment and its changes and ensure that there is sufficient fiscal reserve to react to different changes. And we will make sure that public resources will be properly used. Four secretaries will speak on economic, commerce and industry development, innovation and technology, professional services, shipping, Hong Kong's involvement in BNR initiative and Bay Area. And they will give out the details. A number of members have spoken about Lent Out Tomorrow vision. The Secretary for Development will, in the fourth session, give a detailed reply. I ask members to support this year's policy address.
The Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development. Members, I'd like to thank 28 members for speaking on this session of the Diversified Economy. Over half of the members who have spoken mentioned the US-Sino trade war and the crisis that we are facing. You have registered your worries and sounded warnings, and you have asked us to watch out. We agree, and we will be reacting proactively. Amongst the members who have talked about the possible impact and our attitude towards the Sino-US trade war, Mr. Felix Chung, I think he said that the PA did not give enough attention to the issue. I think that was a flippant remark. I think because if that was the case, in fact, we had conducted thematic discussions on various forums at LEGCO, and the Financial Secretary and myself, in fact, spoke on this and responded to it on many occasions. So this flippant response neglected the various meetings we had with the trade associations and chambers of commerce that were conducted. And in fact, some members also represented their sector and invited us to speak to the sectors directly. And also, this also neglected what the Trade and Industry Department did with regard to the various industries, including the garment and textile industry represented by Mr. Felix Chung. His sector is not included in the trade war, but we also discussed the places of origin, and we said that we should do our very best to protect the legality of the place of origin. President, members are worried about the impact of the trade war on our economy. That is understood. This is one big challenge we are facing in recent years. I think the PA has transmitted a very important message, and that is Hong Kong has strong fundamentals, we have great opportunities, and we have our advantages. But of course, we are facing a huge challenge, and also there are uncertainties brought about by this trade war. I can say that we have strong fundamentals. I'm talking about, and this is mentioned in the PA, that Hong Kong is maintaining an open economy. We insist on conducting free trade, and we do our very best to maintaining Hong Kong as a city of huge competitiveness. These conditions and criteria are well recognized by our trading partners and international think tanks and also organizations, and will continue to maintain it that way. Secondly, we have unique advantages, and I'm talking about our differences from mainland cities. This includes our institutional uniqueness as embodied in Articles 116 and 151 of the Basic Law. We are a separate tariff zone and we are a member of the WTO. These unique characteristics are making us different from our competitors. And as I said, we have strong fundamentals and we need to continue to maintain these advantages. When I said that we have great opportunities, some of them are global. We benefit from economic globalization. We also have to face up to it. We also emphasize innovation and technology as impetus for our economy. The entire world are discussing Industry 4.0, and it is going to give us opportunities. This would include demand for talent and high-end industries, and also soft power is one of the competitive tools. When we talk about great opportunities, nothing can be greater than these two opportunities. One, Greater Bay Area, two, the Belt and Road Initiative. When I say this, I'm not only saying that these are our country's initiatives only, but then if you look back on Hong Kong in the past period, we have indeed benefited from reform and opening up of the country since 1978, and also after the country's accession to WTO 17 years ago, when the country entered the world stage, Hong Kong has been given new opportunities, and that is also in line with our overall economic position. Okay, we have strong fundamentals, we have unique advantages and also great opportunities. But having said that, it doesn't change the fact that we are faced with a huge challenge, and that is the international trade rules may now change forever. This is because of the trade conflict started by the US. In other words, that there would be tightening up of the economic scene. Whether the trade dispute would expand, would continue for some time, or whether it will turn for the better or worse in the coming future. No one has a crystal ball, I think, and no one can really predict what will happen in the next few months or in the next year. But then when we say this, doesn't mean that we'll just sit there and not get prepared. If we can look at all the measures mentioned in the PA, and if you think the PA should be able to deal with all these problems, I think you would agree with me that this is unrealistic. But then, even so, we'll continue to discuss with the sectors this problem. And in this past period, we have launched different measures to, on the one hand, consolidate our advantages and opportunities, but at the same time, we also want to sharpen our advantages so that we can get prepared to cope with the prospects and also challenges. We like to get back to our fundamentals to enhance our competitiveness and also to develop markets. And at the same time, we'll take short-term and immediate measures to help the sectors cope with the challenge. Some of the measures actually have been launched before the PA was announced, including those in the budget and also in last year's policy address. And as members were saying, we have been reducing cost of operation and deregulating. And we have been providing tax breaks, and that has been implemented. This will help businesses reduce operating costs. At the end of last year, we signed the free trade agreement with the 10 countries in ASEAN. It will come into force next year, and it will help to reduce tariffs. This will help our exports. We have also taken measures to proactively support some sectors that have been affected, including the export industry, including export insurance, and I won't repeat that. And in the medium and long terms, if there is a shortage of cash flow, and also before enterprises would collapse because of that, as members were requesting, we have already optimized the SME loan guarantee scheme, and the premium has been brought down, and also the repayment period has been lengthened. All these measures have been launched in order to face up to the challenge, and actually at the same time, we are responding to what the sectors have put forward in the last few months. And also, in order to help the situation amongst the two funds, we have injected $2.5 billion into the two SME funds, one SME development fund, and also help them develop overseas markets and help them to upgrade and enhance themselves. With the injection of funds into these two SME funds, and also we have allowed them to make early applications. In just a few months, we can see that the fund for upgrading and enhancing, we have seen 70 odd applications already, so that they can go to Southeast Asia and the 10 countries in ASEAN so that they can establish their brands and upgrade there. And also with regard to the Market Development Fund, we can see that we have more applications rising from 170 to 270, and this will encourage domestic consumption. And also we have taken measures for market development between governments, including free trade agreements that have been signed. These FTAs are important because we open up more markets, and on the other hand, we can bring down tariffs. And we are not only targeting large markets like the one with the 10 countries in ASEAN or the one that we are negotiating, the one with Australia. Rather, we are also targeting strategic zones and economic entities like the one we have just signed with Georgia because it is the most open economy in Middle Asia. Some members also said that at this time we should be more proactive in doing overseas promotion. We agree absolutely. We will expand our ETO network. And recently we have done a lot of overseas publicity together with bodies and institutes that are in those areas, including the Trade Development Council, the Tourism Board, and they have cooperated with our ETOs. Say, for example, last week in Japan, we have the activity, and we have covered a lot of different institutes and bodies, even some professions, like the one in Japan last week. We have allowed architects to join our publicity effort. And also under the CED Bureau, our ETOs and also Invest Hong Kong do not only serve ourselves. In fact, we serve different bureaus, from education, from innovation and technology to other areas. We also do publicity on these overseas. We are also putting more emphasis on linking up government and non-government bodies, especially in terms of overseas promotion. At the beginning of the year, the CE conducted a high-level meeting, bringing in large statutory bodies. Say, for example, the Stock Exchange, the Airport Authority, the MTRCL, and also the UGC. So we can put together our efforts so that we can do publicity for Hong Kong overseas in a three-dimensional manner. I mentioned that in trying to grasp opportunities, what is more important is to leverage on the BNR initiative and also the Greater Bay Area development. This will allow Hong Kong more space. And that space is not just for foreign trade. Very often, professional services would also enjoy the opportunities that are made available. Some people ask whether we will just go outside Hong Kong under the BNR initiative. I mentioned that in large-scale BNR initiative events, there is this business opportunity, and that is if these projects come to Hong Kong, the contract or business negotiation can take place in Hong Kong, and therefore there will be the need for professional services in Hong Kong. Recently, through the Professional Services Fund, we are supporting over 10 Hong Kong professional bodies who are brought together with their Chinese counterpart, which has over 1,000 members, to conduct regular negotiations so that local professional bodies can cooperate with mainland enterprises. We believe we can achieve a win-win situation because of this. And President, I can see that the acting financial secretary has spoken on convention and exhibition, creative industries, and tourism, and also consumer protection. I won't repeat those. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to respond to what members said just now, and that is a few days ago, our country started the Import Expo. I'd like to conclude my speech on speaking on that. Hong Kong has taken an active part in this Import Expo. If the country opens up its doors wide, and when there is international trade that is made possible, our country will benefit, Hong Kong will benefit, and it will be a win-win situation for the entire international market. When we take part in this international Import Expo, we have taken 160 enterprises with us. We have taken the Tourism Board, the TRC or TDC, and also many chambers of commerce. We have said that our theme is International Trade Hong Kong Experience, and our slogan is that Hong Kong comes. And that goes to show that we have always been the gateway for the country, and it is a gateway to go into China, and also a gateway for the country to go out or global. And this represents that we are going forward with the times, and we can consolidate our traditional trades, and also we are creating opportunities for the new ones. Many members showed concern towards the possible reverse trend of international trade, and that in this volatile atmosphere, Hong Kong will continue to consolidate our advantages and will rise to the challenge. I so speak to support the motion.
Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs. Mr. President, well, this session is about diversified economy. 16 members in their speech talked about the opportunities in the Greater Bay Area, as well as facilitation measures for Hong Kongers to develop on the mainland. I want to respond to these 2 points. Well, the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area construction has become a national development strategy. This shows that it is a matter of deepening the opening up and reform of the motherland. In March this year, President Xi attended a session of the Guangdong deputies at the NPC meeting, and President Xi said that we have to make good use of the important opportunities of the Greater Bay Area, and they should join hands with Hong Kong and Macau so as to develop a first-class Bay Area and a cluster of world cities. Well, there are opportunities for Hong Kong. First of all, this can become the new areas of economic growth for Hong Kong. It can diversify economic development. It will become a quality living circle for us so that we have more living space. On many occasions, the national leaders have already said that it is a matter of staying committed to the basis of one country, 2 systems, and well leveraging the benefits of 2 systems. Well, one country, 2 systems is the unique characteristics of the Greater Bay Area. This is where the potential of the Greater Bay Area lies. This is also the challenge faced by the development of the Greater Bay Area. We need to adopt a new mindset, and we should adopt a holistic view when we talk about breakthroughs in policies and innovation in policies. Some members, including Mr. WU Chi-wai, talked about their doubts and concerns in relation to the development in the Greater Bay Area. I've been listening attentively. I just want to say a few points. First of all, the Greater Bay Area comprises 9 cities in Guangdong province, as well as 2 special administrative regions, and Hong Kong is within the Greater Bay Area. Even when Hong Kongers stay in Hong Kong to develop, we're still contributing to the Greater Bay Area. It is not true to say that we are asking people to go to the Greater Bay Area for development on a daily basis. We're simply pointing out that there are hard to come by development opportunities. It is worth a while to understand, explore, and identify the opportunities, and then we make our own decisions that suit us, including the young people. And thirdly, we are no longer playing the role of a connector. In fact, we are an active participant in such a national development strategy. As far as the Greater Bay Area is concerned, there will certainly be competition among cities, and of course we have to enhance our competitive edge, and we have to enhance our soft powers as well as our hardware, and we need to attract and retain talents. We need to look beyond Hong Kong, and we should look at the regional economic development. We should make sure that there will be mutual benefits for all of us. Well, in fact, for for August this year, the Chief Executive attended the first plenary meeting of the leading group in Beijing. The leading group is chaired by Vice Premier Han Zheng of the State Council. And this is the first time that the chief executives of Hong Kong and Macau were attending such senior level meetings as members. And it shows that the two administrative regions have been given a lot of weight in terms of the work of the Greater Bay Area. Well, in fact, the administration will make good use of this status so as to strive for institutional innovation in terms of our cooperation, so that we can give full play to our potential and contribute to meet the needs of the national government. And in July 2017, we signed the framework agreement on deepening Greater Bay Area. And in fact, we have been pragmatic in taking this forward, and we will make good use of the opportunities, in particular the development of a global technology and innovation hub, so as to enhance the connectivity of the flow of people, goods, capital, and information. Many measures have been introduced to make it more convenient for people of Hong Kong to live in the mainland, in particular the Greater Bay Area. And over the past year, a series of measures have been introduced, like the installation of automatic ticket vending and issuing machines that can read and verify home re-entry permits at train stations. The permission for the people of Hong Kong and Macau working in the mainland to join Housing Provident Fund, the removal of the requirement for people of Hong Kong and Macau to apply for employment permits for working on the mainland. In August this year, the central government announced the implementation of regulations for the application of residence permit for Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan residents with effect from 1st of September. So the Hong Kong residents living in the mainland can also meet the criteria can apply for such permits. And a permit holder is entitled to 3 categories of rights, 6 basic public services, and 9 facilitation measures, and that would encompass many areas of daily living, like employment, education, medical care, etc. And in April this year, members of the Legislative Council, meaning those from the Economic Development Panel, Financial Affairs Panel, Commerce and Industry Panel, and the ITBP, paid a visit to the Greater Bay Area. And they visited 5 cities therein, and they met with many high-tech and startup enterprises. They met with the government authorities there, and they all agree that there will be huge opportunities for us. In order to further implement the development of the Greater Bay Area, the administration has attached a lot of importance to the support to be given to this area of work. In fact, the CE herself is chairing a steering committee for the development of the Guangdong-Hong, Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area. She's the chair, and members include all the secretaries of departments as well as the directors of bureaus. There will be strategic goals, policy measures, and work plans. At the same time, the CMAB will soon set up the Guangdong-Hong, Macau Greater Bay Area Development Office and will apply to the ESC and FC for the creation of the post commissioner for the development of the Guangdong-Hong, Macau Greater Bay Area, so to support the work of the steering committee and coordinate the work of the administration in this regard. There will be a lot of new opportunities for us, and in fact, with the commissioning of the XRL Hong Kong section, the Hong Kong-Macao Bridge, and the new land boundary control point at Lantang, Hung Yun-wei. A 1 hour living circle is basically formed. And we will not miss the opportunities, and will refine, deepen, and enhance all the work involved, and will have more facilitation measures so that people of Hong Kong and enterprises in Hong Kong, in particular young people, will understand better the opportunities and will make good use of the opportunities. Lastly, in relation to the point raised by Mr. Kenneth LEUNG and Mr. Charles Mok, there is the data leak of a airline company. In relation to the personal data involved, we take it seriously. In fact, the Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data has already decided to carry out a compliance check under Section 38B of the ordinance. We'll watch it closely. It shows that there's room for amendment and enhancement. Together with the Office of the Commissioner, we will examine the relevant provisions and penalties and see how we can better protect the data subjects and the notification arrangements. Thank you.
Secretary for Innovation and Technology, I thank members who have spoken on areas relating to innovation and technology. Last year's policy address announced 8 major areas on INT development. They were accepted by the public. A number of measures have been implemented by the government, and they proved to be very effective. I'm happy to see that the INT atmosphere in Hong Kong has been significantly enhanced. We will keep up our work to continue such positive development, and I would like to respond to members' views. Reindustrialization has a very good development prospect in Hong Kong. It can enhance our economic structure, attract R&D resources input, as well as provide diversified job opportunities for INT talents. Recently, an environmental-friendly spinning factory opened in Tai Po Industrial Estate. This is a typical example of reindustrialization, and this has also is widely recognized by the public. To expedite the realization of reindustrialization, we propose to set up a $2 billion reindustrialization funding scheme, and on a matching basis, assist manufacturers to set up intelligent production line in Hong Kong. We will also suggest to the Science Park by providing them with $2 billion to establish manufacturing facilities for dedicated manufacturing industries in industrial estates, and also to provide them with suitable premises for them to set up manufacturing bases here. The commerce and industry sector, including chambers of commerce and federations of industries, have expressed their support. This, I hope, will help the brand made in Hong Kong scale new heights through reindustrialization. We have very sound R&D capabilities. Our research teams in universities and R&D centers have won international competitions. In the policy address, we propose to promote our R&D capabilities, technology transfer, commercialization, on top of our foundation. The maximum subsidy level to designated university technology transfer office, technology startup support schemes for universities, state key laboratories, Hong Kong branch of Chinese International Engineering Research Center will be doubled. This is to further tap into our R&D capability as well as to promote commercialization. A number of members have expressed concerns about smart city, especially progress of open data. Currently, the ITB is working on free digital infrastructure projects, which includes to provide free of charge electronic identity for all Hong Kong citizens in mid-2020. Progress is satisfactory. On open data, we have in September this year finalized new open government data policy to require, starting from the end of this year, bureaus and departments to publish annual open data plans for the coming year. This is supported by the public. Some people told me that startups and SMEs don't have the opportunities to introduce their new ideas as well as new products to government departments. I agree that the government should provide more opportunities for the use of technologies. As a result, the OGCIO will set up in 2019 Smart Government Innovation Laboratory to invite technology proposals and products from the sector on specified topics of public services. We will also work with government departments to make arrangements for testing and certification of these proposals to create more opportunities, business opportunities for startups and SMEs. In order to enhance e-government services, we plan to, in 2019, introduce in the gov.hk portal artificial intelligence and chatbot. This will facilitate searches and the use of e-government services by the public. Chatbot will also be introduced to the 1823 service. At the same time, EID will be fully used in e-government services by government departments. We reckon that in the middle of 2021, Hong Kong people will be able to make use of their EID to access close to 100 e-government services. Using their EID, they can also submit electronically close to 3,000 different government forms. To encourage government departments to make use of technology, we have, in the middle of last year, launched the Tech Connect Block Vote to enhance operational efficiency and to improve public services. Since its launch, government departments have shown their enthusiastic support. So far, we have supported over 40 technology projects from departments. In order to continue to encourage the use of technology by government departments, we propose to inject $500 million to support more projects. Apart from the promotion of use of technology by enterprises in government, we will also hope to create a fervid INT atmosphere. The policy address proposes to set aside $500 million for a Smart City Challenge competition to invite proposals from various sectors on livelihood issues to formulate solutions. The winners, apart from getting a prize, will also have the technology used in public organizations. Well, we have put in place a number of targeted measures in the down, middle, and upstream. We have also addressed the issues voiced by members. I thank members for their support. We will continue to implement these measures and work with the industry to create Hong Kong into a competitive innovation and technology center. I so speak to ask members to support the policy address and our work in INT. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Secretary for Transport and Housing. President. First, I'd like to thank members for their speeches. Some members spoke on traffic and transport. I would leave that to the fourth session to give a consolidated reply. I will now concentrate on maritime and aviation services. Hong Kong is an internationally famous transportation hub. We are also a maritime and logistics hub. We have achieved so much progress over these years. It is because of our geographical location, we have our systemic advantages, we have rich international trade experiences, and we also benefited from the dedicated chapter on Hong Kong and Macau in the 13th five-year plan, and it has given us tremendous support to develop further as a maritime and aviation center. In the time to come, the SARG will continue to enhance our competitiveness in maritime and aviation services, and we will develop high-value-added logistics industry as well. Some members mentioned the Greater Bay Area and also maritime and aviation services and how they contribute to the Hong Kong economy. Mr. President, allow me to give a consolidated reply on maritime and aviation services. The freight throughput of the airport has come first in the world for a row of 8 years, and maritime throughput has also been ranked in the first 3 places, and we have recorded increases both in maritime and aviation throughput. And this has consolidated Hong Kong's position as an international hub, and it is for us to continue to support the Hong Kong airport. At the same time, we will give play to the strategic position of the Hong Kong airport in Hong Kong's long-term development. In enhancing the capacity of the Hong Kong airport, we will proactively help the Hong Kong Airport Authority to develop the 3rd runway project. It will take about 8 years. The entire project is expected to conclude in 2024. Before it is commissioned, we have to enhance the capacity of the present dual runways and also the facilities at the airport so as to take care of the demand in the coming few years. The Civil Aviation Department will make use of the latest aviation control technology, and the Airport Authority will also implement midfield development at the airport. Benefiting from the commissioning of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge, the airport, which is on Lantau Island, will become the double gateway leading out to the world and to the Greater Bay Area. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macao Bridge and the airport will be able to have a synergy effect, and it will facilitate visitors of the 3 places. We will continue to help the airport to provide multimodal transportation, and we will make use of the infrastructure in the Greater Bay Area in order to enhance Hong Kong's leading position in aviation and international trade. In June, the AA has already awarded the contract for a high-end logistics center development so that we can grasp the opportunity of electronic logistics. And on Lantau, we are going to build an aviation cluster, which will offer a lot of jobs. At the same time, we'll continue to support the Airport Authority in promoting the Sky City project, which will bring catering and entertainment facilities together. It is going to be of so much value to the airport. It will be integrated into the 3 one-way project, and it will also help to explore into the superstructure in the Shenzhen corridor and also the future AWE development. This will give full play to Lantau as the airport city. In terms of maritime industry, the Hong Kong port, shipping, and maritime industries have been important impetuses for Hong Kong's economy. Over 90% of our freight has been imported and exported by sea. We can see, therefore, that the maritime industry is an important pillar for our economy. We have a long history of maritime services. We are an important hub port in the region. We have been one of the busiest container ports in the region. Just now, Mr. Frankie Yek said that our container throughput or freight throughput might come down because of competition and also the Sino-US war. But last year, our port handled or processed over 20 million TEUs, and this is highly comparable to other busy ports. We are also a concentration hub for ship owners, and they manage huge fleets. As at the end of 2017, the ship owners in Hong Kong are in charge of 2,200 vessels with a total tonnage of 180 million, or 10% of the total tonnage. in the whole world. We have very diversified maritime services, including shipping insurance, shipping financing, shipping arbitration or maritime arbitration, and also other agency services. There are over 800 maritime service companies in Hong Kong, and they provide comprehensive, high value-added and advantageous services to vessels coming in and out of Hong Kong. I'm very glad to hear from members that you support the development of our maritime industry as mentioned in the PA. The industry is prone to external impact, and because of competition around Hong Kong, we must build on our very sound foundation, and we have to develop high value added maritime services and make the best out of the BNRI and also the Greater Bay Area development in order to continue to promote Hong Kong's economy. Here, I'd like to particularly mention Mr. Frankie Yick's quotation of the PA and also the measures mentioned in the PA, particularly the challenges faced by the industry because of the U.S.-Sino trade dispute. Now, in terms of high-value maritime services, as I said at the panel, shipping industry, arbitration, and also ship finance. These are industries we'd like to develop, especially with regard to Ship Finance Center. Between 2014 to 2016, it has achieved an average annual growth of 12%. Compared to overall maritime service development, which has risen by an average of 5%, that is higher. And also with regard to the FSDC's report on ship finance, it is said that every year we need 80 to 100 billion US dollars for shipbuilding every year. And ship leasing is the new mode of ship finance. And in order to attract more ship finance companies to set up shop in Hong Kong so that Hong Kong can become the ship leasing center in Hong Kong. And under the Hong Kong Maritime and Port Board, we have set up a Maritime and Port Development Committee so that we can thresh out the details for ship leasing in the second half of the year. We understand that the maritime service industry would like us to have more measures in order to attract ship operators and ship owners to choose Hong Kong as their operating base. We understand that these people are an important element for the development of the industry, but since this covers a wide area, we need to study into it further. And in terms of facilitating maritime service, the Hong Kong Ship Register has always helped to provide high-quality service to ship owners in Hong Kong and overseas. We will, by stages, choose overseas ETOs and also our offices on the mainland to set up Hong Kong Ship Register regional or district support teams, say, for example, Shanghai, Singapore, Tokyo, San Francisco, and also London, so that we can provide direct and efficient services to ship owners. And also we will be promoting Hong Kong's ship registration work overseas. Some members also talked about the tight supply of manpower in Hong Kong. And this applies to every industry. Therefore, in order to support manpower resources development in maritime and aviation, we will inject $200 million into the Maritime and Aviation Training Fund set up in 2014 to attract more people to join the maritime and aviation trade and also to enhance the professional standard of the people involved. In fact, over 6,300 people, including students, have benefited. We believe the present injection will allow the fund to have enough resources to roll out more optimizing measures and also awards and training incentives in time so that there will be comprehensive and diversified training provided. Some members said that port development and also logistics industry have a demand on land. In fact, the administration has been liaising closely with the sector, and we have been providing land resources for the industry concerned. In order to preserve the competitiveness of Hong Kong's port, the Hong Kong government will continue to roll out implementation details of the review of the Kwai Ching container port backup area. 7.8 hectares has been already given to the container port or Kwai Chung container port for use, so that we can have more stacking space for containers, so that there will be higher processing capacity at our container ports. We have also started a feasibility study in order to look into 2 Kwai Chung sites, so that we can build port backup areas, so we can release more land to support the operation of the port. The relevant study will be concluded in 2019. Therefore, Mr. Yik's concerns have been addressed. In order to promote high-value-added third-party logistics industry, we have already set aside a site measuring 3.17 hectares in Area 49 in Tuen Mun in June this year, so that we can build a modern logistics center. Mr. President, in terms of Hong Kong's aviation and maritime industries, and also our logistics industry, we have the determination and commitment to develop them further. We hope that our measures will allow the industries to go forward. With these remarks, I urge members to support the vote of thanks. Thank you, President. The first debate session ends. We now proceed to the second debate session.